How you doing, guys? Eric from ruledwasteland.com. I'm technically doing this as a live stream simply because it's quicker to set up my camera and the webcam than it is to do the my actual camera. And I don't tend to do a lot of editing with my videos anyway. So, you might get a bit more ums and ahs and mental breakdowns in the live stream than you would otherwise, but I probably won't be fielding really any questions because I'm just going to do the video that I was going to film otherwise and just do it as a live stream, but maybe at the very end. I'm not going to wait for people to show up to watch or whatever, but you will be able to watch this afterwards. But what I wanted to talk about was the fact that I've talked a lot about in this conflict with Russia and Ukraine, NATO, and everything else, and with China and US and everything that's going on in the world, is that we're entering or we have entered, in my mind, almost a post-truth era where you can't rely on almost any of the information that you get, at least not at face value. And I think I'm seeing that even within the last couple of weeks, just hit the afterburners and go into a mode where there is even less, real information, or it's even more buried, and that the information that all the various sides and sources are putting out is diverging even more wildly than it has been for the past couple of years. And I don't know what to make of that, other than to say that, there's a lot of big events that we do know have happened, like the dam that was damaged in Russia. We know something happened with one of their ships, various things like that, could be the Ukrainian offensive, could be the start of, could be, from damage that happened a long time ago. Some of it could be completely fake. We had the Russians supposedly put footage of this ship out saying it was undamaged, that was shown to be old footage potentially. But even stuff like that, like the individual viewer can't verify any of those claims. Like if someone comes out and says, oh, this footage is old, it's very difficult to go verify even that. And, I'm not saying that that's fake. I believe that is true, but you just can't trust anything. And we're seeing more and more of these supposed events and crazy things happening on a quicker time scale, with less ability to even trust what we're hearing and seeing about these things. So really, we kind of have to go with like a totality and see the downstream and wait to see the downstream effects. Like if this really did happen, then these things should happen. So that if we don't see these downstream effects happening, then maybe that really didn't happen. But then again, you could just be wrong about the cause and effect. So the only thing you can really do is prepare for everything. I do think that in the last couple weeks or days, even, like I said, we've seen more events that could be meaningful than we had in the preceding few weeks, and things that probably will set the tone for the next 6 months, the next year, or whatever. I definitely think that will set the tone for how this conflict goes for the next however many years. Is that if there is a Ukrainian offensive, it will have its effect probably over the next 6 months to a year. And everything has been slower than I would have anticipated. And that's not just with this. That's, like I've said before, that seems to be a trend with my predictions and anticipations in general. But that they always just take a little bit longer to play out than I suspect. But even still, like if there is a genuine, like major Ukrainian offensive, and we will see the effects of that over the next 6 to 12 months. And what happens then will tell a tale of if it's going to be effective in the way that NATO and Ukraine want it to be, if it's rebuffed, by the Russians. And if they are successful, like obviously the recent information that's popped out about like the attack on that ship seems to be Russia taking the brunt of it, from what we've at least been told. And like I've always said, that is the most dangerous outcome to me, is Russia getting quickly and severely pushed back or beaten, for lack of other word, because I think that puts them in a more desperate position. I think that puts them in a more angry, in a more they have more reason to use nuclear weapons at that point than if they were just losing the slow war of attrition and had to eventually just be like, you know what, and kind of tap out, but their original borders stay the same and things like that. Incursions into Russian territory, losing ground, especially quickly and severely, taking any major losses. I think that's the most dangerous outcome, the most dangerous potential situation, is because their desperation has always been the most dangerous element of this to me. So let me know what you guys think. Just doing a quick video on that. As always, get prepared, because like I said, the next 6 months to a year will probably give us an idea of how this is going to go, whether we're talking about a massive expansion, whether we're talking about a quick breakout of vastly increased combat in different areas, or if we see it slowly start to simmer down as Russia loses power and control over the area, which that would be probably the best case scenario in terms of strictly speaking, in terms of avoiding, nuclear events. But let me know what you guys think. And regardless, getting a respirator like this Mira tactical respirator with a NATO NBC filter on there, 40 millimeter, link will be in the description, is a very relatively cheap and very simple way of some basic preparations that even if this stuff does get out of hand, you can protect yourself.